Hello and welcome. My name is Céline, and I'm so happy to sit down and hang out with you today to talk about gift knits. My family and I celebrate Christmas. Christmas morning is the most important morning out of the year for me because I just take Christmas as an excuse to sit my family down and force them to open all the gifts that I've collected for them throughout the previous 5 months. Any occasion is a good excuse to knit them something. For me, there's also nothing like the feeling of being in a room, the four of us, and us all wearing a sweater that I knitted. I'm the youngest sibling, so I've always been nurtured as such, so it's really nice that I can kind of give back the love and take care of my family in that way by knitting them stuff. So I thought I'd sit down and share my gift knit ideas that you can use literally for any occasion, birthdays, Christmas, whatever you celebrate. It would also be so amazing if you could share your gift knitting ideas in the comments, just so we can get more inspiration. I just want to know what all of you are making for your loved ones. That being said, I'm going to briefly touch upon what I'm wearing. So this is the Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. It's knit in 2 strands of the Sandnes Garn Tin Silk Mohair, which is a very itchy yarn. It's got some content of wool in there, so it's not very silky. It's quite coarse, but that means that it's worn so incredibly well. I've had this for 2 or 3 years, but is it worth the itch? Maybe not, because at the end of the day, most mohair wears well, especially if it's held double. Also, I have bionic skin. I don't know what's in my skin composition, but I could wear thorns and it wouldn't itch. So I feel like most people would find this really itchy, but I love it. This green is the best shade in the world. I think it fits everyone and just brightens up the complexion and just makes you look so alive. It's so pretty. My mom actually gifted me this yarn for Christmas one year. And it was so special. Such a good piece in my wardrobe, and yeah, love my Cumulus blouse. Let's move on to the gift list. So I'll start by sharing the things that I've made in the past. So I made a couple of sweaters actually. For my mum, I made the Clotilde sweater by Knitting for Olive. I used 2 strands of heavy merino. They also recommend you add 1 strand of mohair, but I ended up not doing that because I found that it got lost in the 2 strands of heavy merino because then it's just so chunky. This one's a beautiful all over lace chunky knit. It's made on 10mm needles, and I was in a time crunch and I managed to knit it in 5 days. I feel like if I would have gone at more of a normal pace, I would have gotten it done maybe in 10. It's definitely a quick knit. There is a lot of lace work, so you have to concentrate, but if you've got down a good chart reading method, I think you're gonna be okay. It was really fun. I had the best time in those 5 days. It's just a good design that both offers speed because it's chunky, but nice intricate lace work, so it makes it even more special. I also made it because my mum is called Clotilde, so I thought it was only fitting to make her the Clotilde sweater. The second sweater I made for my mum is the Cumulus blouse, like the one that I'm wearing, also in green, but more of a sage shade. For that, I used 2 strands of Drops Kid Silk. I think it's a nice simple design that actually appeals to a lot of different people with different styles, and it's so simple where you can make very easy modifications that don't take a lot of brain power to tweak the design and adapt it to different styles. It can be dressed up or dressed down, so it's a very versatile design. It's a good time to share a really good mohair alternative that I found. So it's the Holstgarn Lucia yarn. This is 42% baby alpaca, 35 mulberry silk, 13 merino wool, and 10% yak. So it's a really nice lace weight fluffy yarn that looks like mohair, but it's not itchy. So if you want to play it safe for your gift knits, this is the one to go for. Really check these out. I made my brother Petite Knit's Northland sweater, and I loved it so much that I made it for Mr. Woozy as well, and it looks so good on both of them. I would honestly make the sweater a 3rd time. Even for myself, I loved the look of it on, especially super oversized. I think it's just such a good look. My brother's I made with Drops Nepal, I believe, and then Mr. Woozy's, I was about to say his name, Mr. Woozy's, it's a secret. I used Knitting for Olive's Heavy Merino, which is my favorite out of the 2 because it's just really nice and plump, it's warm, it's drapey, it's really beautiful for this design. So the other one I made for my brother is the Handstorm sweater, which, by the way, this first batch of gifts come from my Petite Knit obsession era. I think Petite Knit is a really safe designer to go for when you're gift giving, especially if you've not consulted with your gift receiver on what they would like, because she has a lot of nice, simple, staple basics that kind of everyone needs in their wardrobe. Her patterns have been highly tried and tested, so I always feel safe going into it knowing that I can't really try the garment as I go. I can just rely on the measurements and the sizes and the stitch counts that she provides. But the Handsome sweater is a very simple raglan sweater in a DK weight. So for my brother, I used the Knitting for Olive Merino held with the mohair. My brother actually likes the fluff of the mohair. Some people may not, so make sure you at least know if they would enjoy the look of the fluff and also if their skin isn't too sensitive for it. My favorite video I've ever made, I think, is this reel that I posted on Instagram of me making a zipper sweater for my dad and him reacting to it last Christmas. This sweater is so perfect for dads. It should have been called a dad sweater. There are two versions of the zipper sweater for men. Petite Knit has the light version and the normal version, which I made my dad the latter, and that one has 15 stitch gauge. I kind of regret the fiber that I used. I used Drops Andes, which is actually bulkier. So I really had to knit a dense fabric, but my dad loves it. I love the zipper detail on it. I think it really makes the sweater special because it makes it versatile and gives you different looks. If you pull it all the way down, it creates this nice little decorative neck moment, but then you can also pull it all the way up. The neck is so plump because it's double folded. I actually didn't install the zipper myself. I just wanted to get it as perfect as it could be, so I brought it to a tailor's and she installed it for me. I bought the zipper from the Petite Knit website, and I must say it's a really good zipper. It's nice and sturdy. The metal is nice and heavy, like it's good quality. So I really recommend you go for that zipper if you're wondering which one to buy. If you're into sock knitting, that's an obvious one to go for. I think it's just such a cute gift to receive handmade socks. I would love some hand knit socks as a gift just because I'm not a big sock knitter. In fact, I actually wanted to ask you, I assume that all of you knit, that's why you're probably watching this video. But as a knitter, would you enjoy a handmade gift by someone, or would you rather them just gift you the yarn so that then you could knit it for yourself? I'm really, really curious to see where you guys stand on that. Another gift I've made is a baby knit. So this is the festival dress for my baby cousin Samia, and it's so, so beautiful. She's going to look so cute. I'm heading to Milan this weekend and I'm gonna see her, and I'm finally gonna see her wear this. I hope she's not grown too big for this because it's actually been ready for a couple months, but I've not managed to fly back and give this to her, so I really hope it still fits. I love baby knits. They're so, so fun, especially if it's little accessories for them. Those are really, really fast. I've made 2 baby bear bonnets by Knitting for Olive, both of them in a day. So if you're trying to find something super quick, super cute and special, that's probably the most special gift you'll ever give a baby. It's the baby bear bonnet. Some really good gift knits are chunky beanies like this one. This is the Orbit Hat by Rose Knitwear. I made it in a day with some scrap yarn that I had in stash, so that's really good on the budget as well, but it's so, so cool. Another item that I think a lot of people would appreciate because it's quite peculiar and not a lot of people have it is a hood. This is one you should consider. It's the Simple Knit Hood by Leah Leakey. It's very fast. I think I made it in 2 or 3 days. I held camel's yarn merino DK with the Surrey silk alpaca lace. Gauge is 16 stitches. It's very quick. It's a 1 skein project. You can also probably find something in your stash. It's very versatile. You pop your head through it and you can wear it obviously as a hood, or you can pop it down so it kind of transforms whatever you're wearing into a hoodie. It's very, very cute on because there's a really nice transition from indoors outdoors without having to take it off when you're going indoors. I love it. It's so, so good. I will leave a tutorial for the cast on for this pattern specifically because I know a lot of people have trouble. I had trouble understanding it from the pattern. So in case you're gonna go for this, make sure you also look at the tutorial for the cast on. Obviously the world's favorite gift knit are Sophie scarves. I would be so interested to know, first of all, how many of you watching are gonna make Sophie scarves as gift knits this year, but also how many Sophie scarves people are gonna knit for Christmas. Like in the whole world, how many people do you reckon are making Sophie scarves? I've made 3 Sophie scarves. I would have to make something new, a new type of mini scarf, and I found the perfect one that's so cute by Sari Nordland. It's the Kutar shawl. I hope that's how you pronounce it. But this one's a little different because it's more of a shawl because it's bigger. It's not as small as a Sophie scarf, but then you wrap it around your neck the same way you would a Sophie scarf. And honestly, it looks like it gives you more coverage. Sometimes, especially in the cold UK winters, I wish my Sophie scarves had a bit more coverage. It's like some parts of my neck still pop through, and this would be absolutely perfect because there is more fabric. There's a nice lacy design that's so cute. And sometimes with the Sophie scarf, it's not that effortless to make it look cute. Like, I need to adjust it quite a lot, whereas with this one there's more fabric to work with, so I assume it's probably going to be more effortless to just throw it on and make it look cute. So I would definitely go for this if I were to knit my next mini scarf. If you're a regular viewer of my channel, you may have learned that I just discovered mittens. And my favorite thing that I've ever made since I was born are my songbird mittens. I think I would pass out if someone gifted me these. I would literally feel unwell. I think I made them in a week. They were my first colorwork project. They look way more complicated than they actually are, so fear not. These would be honestly the ultimate gift. It's so special, and I don't even have to explain why. In terms of yarn, I used for the pink Cardiff Cashmere Classic, and the white is onion nettle sock yarn. Both were in my stash, both I didn't need more than one skein each. If this feels a bit daunting, you could go for something a bit more classic. So I have just completed my frost mittens. They are knitted on a thicker gauge, so it's just less knitting, faster to work up, but also the design is a bit more geometric, so it's a bit easier to keep track of where you are, and it's a bit easier to avoid mistakes, I guess. I've not made any mittens as a gift knit, but I think this is the first thing that I would consider with my gift knit planning because they are just so special. They're very hard to find in shops. Something like this I've not seen in years. When you walk around, you don't really see anyone with something like this on, so these are truly special. I know we're talking about knitting, but I'm also a crocheter. I don't pick up my crochet hook half as much as I do my knitting needles, but I still thought this next thing is a really good gift knit. The winter that I learned how to crochet, I made like 15 of these beanies for my family members. This is what they look like. They're from a free pattern on YouTube, which I'll link down below. And they're so quick. I think I used to make them in 2 to 3 hours because the band is worked on 6 or 6.5 millimeter hook, and then the rest of the beanie on 8. All of this with chunky wool. It's got this really pretty floral-like design. I'd actually made it for my brother in black. I have a black one myself. You can't really see the stitch. Yeah, it was my brother's favorite beanie, and he was just living his life, walking around town in London, and then someone drives by on a bike and snatches it off his head. Like, I'm not even joking. They snatched the beanie off his head. So I made him another one. I must remind you that knitting isn't just about making clothing and accessories like beanies and socks and scarves. It's also about embellishing the house and making accessories as homeware. So I wanted to show you this pattern that I've just casted on. It's not going to be a gift knit, but I think anyone would love this as a gift knit if it's their style. This is what it looks like. So this is going to be a pillowcase. It's the scrap pillow pattern that is in the new Rose Knitwear pattern book that just came out this week. I just went into my stash and I selected those odd skeins that had been opened and used a bit that I'm not really gonna use in the future. I decided to go a bit crazy and just use all the colors that I could find. It's nice because you can obviously select the colors, so you can adapt them to the color scheme that your gift receiver prefers. So you could even make like a more neutral pillow, just select in some neutral yarn scraps. But this is so fun, and it's just so satisfying that I can use up all these little scraps that are the hardest to get rid of because you've just got such a limited quantity of them that, like, what could you possibly use them for? And you can see that I'm using some random yarn as the main yarn. So I cast it on with one color, I finished that skein, and now I'm holding these two random yarns, but it doesn't really matter because all the colorful strands cover the main yarn, so who cares what's down there? You can really, really make the most out of this to clean up your stash. I'm having the time of my life making this. If someone comes up to me and saying, "Oh, Céline, you look so happy, you look like you're glowing," what I'll answer is, "Yeah, I'm working on my scrap yarn pillow, watching Gilmore Girls. Like, what a better way to pass my autumn, you know?" I have one work in progress that is a Christmas gift knit for my dad. This is the cardigan number 8 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This pattern is advertised as women's wear, but one day I was scrolling on my Instagram and I found this photo of this guy wearing cardigan number 8, and it looked so good. There was no doubt in my heart, in my mind, in my spirit that I was gonna make this for my dad. I had been waiting to find the perfect pattern for my dad for quite a few months because I had been putting some thought into it, and when I saw this, it was just the universe aligned. Also, my dad must have a v-neck or like the zipper sweater where he can open it, because he has like a weird thing that he doesn't like fabric touching his neck or something. I don't even know. So this was perfect. 15 stitch gauge pattern, which meant that I could get through it quite quickly. I decided to block this mid knit because I was pondering whether or not I should unravel, because I'm holding 2 strands together, and before blocking, it was so stiff. I really did not like the fit of it, and especially where I picked up the stitches at the arm, it was so bulky. There was like a horrible line. Verdict is, after blocking, it's really, really nice. And thank goodness, because this is amongst the most beautiful yarn I've ever used, and I really wanted it to work for this project. I got this yarn from Beautiful Knitters Yarn Shop. This brand is Hey Mama Wolf. I'm actually using 2 different yarns from them. So the thicker one is their Skadi, and this one is their Mokosh, which is slightly thinner. One time I brought my family to Beautiful Knitters and I had them scour through like the whole stock, asking them what colors they liked. And I think this was back in June or July. And I was like, you know, just pick a color and eventually I'll make you something. So this is the yarn that my dad picked. So I really wanted to use this color for this cardigan, but obviously there was an incompatibility with the gauge of the pattern and this actual yarn. So I was like, let me hold them together. When I knitted this up, I just thought the fabric was too dense and too stiff, and it just didn't have a nice drape. I was this close to unraveling. And then I took it to Beautiful Knitters and I asked Karen, the owner, what do you think I should do? Should I just unravel? And she said, block it and see how it goes. And thank goodness I listened to her. I also listened to Margot, because Margot was like, no, you can't unravel it. It's so pretty, it's so that. So thank goodness, thanks to Margot and Karen, I've not unraveled it. It's actually showing a really lovely drape. It's gorgeous. This yarn is incredible. It actually says on the label that this is the softest wool in Europe, because the sheep that this comes from have a really lovely crimp in their fleece, which incorporates so much air. So it's basically like whipped yarn. It's so good. The experience of knitting this is unlike any other yarn that I've ever tried. I actually put this on after I blocked it, and it felt so good. And I'm so happy that it worked out for my dad's cardigan. I cannot wait to give it to him. I cannot wait to show you guys his reaction. I'll obviously make another reel this year, because I guess it's tradition now. I'm so excited. I can't. Very chuffed to have realized that the whole men and women versions of patterns are actually kind of irrelevant. You only have to kind of work out the sizing difference, but once you've got that down, you can just make anything for everyone. It's so good. It just opens up the opportunities and the possibilities. So that's the first gift knit that I started for this Christmas. I have to be really careful with what I say because my mom watches my videos. Ciao, mama! So I will not disclose what I plan to make her, okay? Because even if I tell her to not watch this video, she is gonna watch this video. My mom is the one person on this planet that cares about my well-being the absolute most. And whenever I talk to her about gift knits, she's like, please, Céline, do not make me anything because I don't want your hands, your wrists, your eyes, your back, your neck to be in pain. I don't want you to go through all that effort for me. And I'm like, Mom, what are you talking about? So obviously we've got plans for the mom. I just can't share them with you, but I may have given you hints. Something important that I wanted to mention that I forgot to say. Last year for Christmas, I really wanted to gift my brother a sweater, but I didn't have time to make it. So what I did is I bought the yarn and I wrapped it in gift wrap and I put it under the tree, so when he opened it, there was the yarn. He's not a knitter, so obviously that meant that I bought him the yarn to make him a sweater and that I was gonna make a sweater. So you could do that. Just really make sure that you will be able to make it soon after, because I feel like it would be a bit sad if, you know, they get the yarn as a statement that you're gonna make them something and then it takes you like a year to make it. So yeah, that happened last Christmas, and then I made the sweater and my brother had it by the end of January. So that was kind of the time frame. Another gift knit that I would like to make is a beanie for my brother using the 2 skeins of Isier Aran Tweed in the shade Confetti. I went to the Oxford yarn shop, and when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so my brother. So I must use it to make him a beanie. I wanted to try to see if I can hit gauge for one of Petite Knit's hats, the brioche one. Otherwise, I'll just look for something else that might work for him. If I have time, I would love to make my brother another sweater. I'm thinking a drop shoulder construction, because so far I've made him a saddle shoulder and a raglan, so a drop shoulder would be ideal just to give him a little bit, you know, of a variety. I think he'd love that. And that time that I brought my whole family to Beautiful Knitters, my brother actually picked a shade of the New Life Wool by Tshirt, which I actually have here because I'm working on my own cardigan using this. So this is what the skein looks like. This is not the color he picked. He picked like a really deep purple that had some colorful tweed in there, kind of subtle tweed, but I'll obviously keep you posted in my podcasts and vlogs to see what I end up going for, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do that if I have the time. I really hope I will. Another gift knit that I would personally love to receive is a hot water bottle cover. I'm an avid hot water bottle user. I sometimes have 2 going at the same time, one for my tummy and one for my feet. Oh my gosh, my favorite thing in life is to get my hot water bottle ready. Hot water bottle around December or January time, like the peak of winter, the peak of cold. Get my hot water bottle ready and then put it in my bed, get ready for bed, take a shower, brush my teeth, brush my hair, take my makeup off, and then go under the covers. That feeling is unlike, I can't think of an equivalent feeling. Hot water bottle cover, I think, is such an iconic gift. Specifically in cream boucle yarn is so adorable, or a color work pattern. It's a not very obvious item to make. I love the sorts of things that are just not obvious and you can't really buy at the store, you know. I think they're so special. I was browsing at Beautiful Knitters and I found this yarn that is so good. Could not leave without it, you know, like I couldn't. This is her. She looks so This is the Cowls yarn BFL sock set. First of all, the Cowls yarn is my favorite hand dyer. When I look at her hanks, I truly see art. It's like very impressive. The way she dyes, the consistency and the color choices and the combinations. And the tag, like, are you kidding? It's this double tag and it has a really pretty cardboard. And then the actual logo is on this canvas. I don't know. The way she twists her hanks is also so impressive and neat. They just look like little jewels, you know? When I saw this, I was inspired, I was moved, I was touched. It had to be mine, and I'm so excited to create with this. I've been hard at work looking for the perfect pattern for this. And a contender, a very strong contender, is the Cozy Cocoa Hood by Kutowakika. I don't know if this will work, I just have to swatch it. So the gauge she calls for is 19 stitches over 10 centimeters in the honeycomb stitch pattern, holding 1 strand of mohair and 1 strand of merino together after blocking. So this is obviously fingering weight yarn, and I'm planning to hold it with some leftover mohair. So here is my bag of leftover mohair. This is also a kind reminder to use your leftover mohair with maybe 1 skein projects. I have some pink, some yellow, and some cream that I think would pair up so well with the skein, specifically the yellow or the pink. It just looks straight out of a fairy tale. The design in itself of the little hood obviously reminds me of Little Red Riding Hood because the sample is also knit in red, but I think paired in this color scheme is gonna look like an actual fairy dust goodness creation. So, but this is all to say that you could pick a really special hand-dyed yarn at your local yarn shop. It would just make such a special gift because, first of all, such color scheme and such color variegation is basically impossible to find commercially at a store. But also it's hand dyed, like, you know, the entire process from start to finish, from the creation of the yarn to the completion of the product is so bespoke and one of a kind. I got carried away by how gorgeous this is and forgot to tell you what the colorway is. So this is Flora Day sock set. It's 100 grams of the main color, which is 425 meters, and then the mini is 20 grams and 85 meters. Another bigger gift knit that's actually kind of fast is a loose gauge, quite open fabric t-shirt. Something like a ranunculus made on 6mm needles with a fingering weight yarn. I have this skein of Nelly and Eve Dale's 50/50, which is 100 grams, 450 meters. It's a fingering weight yarn, 50% BFL and 50% Masham. This would be so perfect for a ranunculus. I really love the look of Beautiful Knitters Enovets. They also have the Dead Easy, which is really, really cute. And those are a bit more simple than the ranunculus, if maybe the ranunculus is not necessarily your style. Speaking of t-shirts, I wanted to show you some yarn that I'm planning to use for the Innovets by Beautiful Knitters. That's one I've been wanting to make for a while. And it's this Cardiff Cashmere Classic in the shade 687. It's this gorgeous pale cool pink. It's so cute. This was actually a gift from Tao, who's the beautiful human behind the Knitting Swan, who makes my favorite knitting project bags, drawstring bags, everything. They're amazing. If you really want to make someone a cashmere garment, first of all, you're an absolute angel, but also, you know, making a sweater requires what, like 10 plus skeins of cashmere, and that's super, super expensive. So a t-shirt is kind of like a midpoint. And yeah, you might consider that if that fits the budget as well, but it's really, really lovely. Something else you can make with 2 skeins of cashmere are some nice cowls. So I'll just select a few and put them on the screen. Maybe you'll find some that you really enjoy. I think it's really good with budget because it's what, like £32 for 2 skeins. And it's just gorgeous, luxurious yarn. I think you would honestly make an incredible gift. Let me conclude with some honorable mentions, which are a mix of things that you can make for people, but also stuff that you can get for yourself. So I've been obsessed with Mary Wallen. She makes the most gorgeous kits ever. She's the colorwork queen. Making something from her, like a sock or a mitten from her for someone. Honestly, anything in the new Rose knit book would be insane. In fact, let me go through a list of books that I think would be really good for a variety of people. So the Rose knit book, someone who's a bit edgier, who's more experimental, like an industrial high fashion sort of person. On the other end of the spectrum, if the gift is for someone who's more into classical silhouettes and really pretty feminine embellishments, the perfect book is Memory Lane by Claudia Quintanilla. It's so, so beautiful and girly and really holds like a special nostalgic aesthetic that's so, so beautiful and delicate. There's a beautiful new book from Lane Publishing. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. Is it Line? Please let me know in the comments because I'm not sure how to say it. Lane, Line. But they came out with Nordic Knits, captivating one-off issue dedicated entirely to Nordic knitting traditions and aesthetics. It's so beautiful. Every single pattern is gorgeous. I would make it. Like that almost never happens. It only happens with the Rose book. I know this book has been really popular. I've seen a lot of people purchase it. So yeah, I've recently just finished my Hershon Bomber by Kit Couture, and I had so much fun making it, and it was so effortless because I actually bought the kit. If you have a lot going on, I think knitting from a kit can help massively. Everything's just there ready for you and you don't have to do a lot of thinking other than the knitting. I would suggest you go on the Kit Couture website and see what kits they have, and they might inspire you for some gift knits. And look at that, I went through the whole list on my laptop. That was very long. I kind of have a sore throat from all the talking, but I love thinking about gifts and gift knitting. I cannot wait to read what you guys are making for your friends and family. Just know that these pieces you're hand making for others are bringing so much joy. And also I feel like a knitted gift is amongst the most wonderful material gifts you can give someone. Don't forget to share with me what's currently on your needles while watching this. With barely any voice left in my cords, I'll go on vocal rest and I'll have my lunch. But I wanted to thank you guys so much for sticking to the end of the video and hanging out with me today. As always, I'll leave my Instagram on screen in case you'd like to follow my creations more in real time. And I'll say bye for now, but I hope to see you in my next video.